Around this time last year, the general audience were plopped into their seats, feasting their eyes upon Avengers Infinity War, part 1 of the finale to over 20 theatrical comic book films thus far that, spoiler alert, ended with the villain winning. Yeah, you all probably know, Thanos collected all 6 Infinity Stones and snapped his fingers, accomplishing his goal to exterminate half of all life in the universe. Viewers alike were traumatized, as fan favorites such as Black Panther, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Bucky Barnes, token black side hero whose purpose is to be cool for one film to become a punching bag, 90% of Guardians of the Galaxy, probably Howard the Duck, and more of the newer Avengers perished, turning into dust. For about a year, but it's a significant year. The world of the MCU is bound to go under some disastrous changes, due to 50% of all life just vanishing into thin air, putting the survivors in a desperate situation. But that got me thinking, what if Thanos' snap affected the worlds of other franchises? How different would your favorite cartoon be if half of the main cast just dropped dead? Well, leading up to the release of Avengers Endgame, that's exactly what we're going to figure out, starting with a staple of this channel, Steven Universe. I'm your host, Ostrich Vox, and let's get this party started. Today on Tooned In. Alright, so we definitely need to set some ground rules to keep things interesting, but not confusing. First things first, I know Thanos' snap is directed towards all organic life, and gems aren't organic. However, we have to consider Thanos' goal. He wants to wipe out half of the universe to bring balance of resources. The gem species' entire existence feeds off of resources. They go around wiping planets in order to create more gems. This directly conflicts with Thanos' goals, so we're going to factor in every single gem into the snapping. Also for juicy drama. Now, the current conflict of Steven Universe is sort of, non-existent due to the end of Change Your Mind, wrapping up what the show's built up to since day 1. With information on both the movie and season 6 unavailable to us at the time, we still need some sort of conflict for the characters to play off of. So we're going to set the snap around the events of the episode Reunited, where practically everyone is together, and the plot is at its peak to mess around with. To get the list of who survived the snap and who bit the dust, I simply flipped a coin. So every single one of these was at random chance. Not axed because I hold a vendetta against a character, or because I thought it'd be clever to get rid of them. There's a 50-50 chance of making it out alive, and we're going to stick by that. Alright, no more delays. We're going in. Ready, set, snap. Alright, pour one out for the following. Amethyst, Connie, both of her parents, Greg, Peridot, Rhodonite, Paparacha, Dewey, Sour Cream, Vidalia, Yellowtail, Ronaldo, Lars's parents, Jamie, Suke Sam, Mystery Girl, Kevin, White Diamond, Blue Pearl, all of the rubies except for Army, Yellow Zircon, and Centipedal. Ruby and Sapphire's wedding plays out as normal. They put on the rings, kiss, and refuse back into Garnet. The 2 flowers wash up on the shore, and then silence. Everyone still feels joyous, but something feels off. Garnet stops dead in her tracks. Her future vision shows her something so frightening, she can't even properly process everything. All she does is shout, "Wait!" As if on cue, half of their audience begins to crumble into dust. So many loved ones in one fell swoop that Steven can't believe his eyes. Remember, Steven saw multiple versions of himself evaporate into sand, and when that happened, he froze into place as if his mind was broken. So reliving that moment, replacing time-displaced copies with people he actually knows and loves, going beyond a mind and instead, death. He breaks down completely, surrounded by the shell-shocked crystal gems. As the Beach City citizens scramble in mass hysteria, they aren't sure how or even why, but for an unexplained reason, they lost. Things aren't looking up on Homeworld, where the story really heats up, and we feel the consequences of how this universe begins to change. I think the Diamonds initially would be a bit inattentive to the fact half of their race turned to dust, until they're caught off guard by a wandering Pink Pearl, confused on where she is and what happened, requesting to know Pink Diamond's whereabouts. Yellow and Blue forced their way into White Diamond's ship, only to discover White herself is absent. A crowd of screams would soon catch their attention, as those who inhabit Homeworld crowd around the Diamond ships, demanding an explanation. Yellow and Blue would soon come to an unfortunate realization. A large amount of gems have deceased at an alarming rate, including their leader. So Yellow and Blue request the presence of every single gem out in space to take a head count. Needless to say, when only half of their expected attendance comes out, Yellow and Blue realize they need to make some sort of plan. With the pieces in place, here's how I believe the world of Steven Universe would change from here on out. Beach City would no longer become a popular tourist attraction during the summer season. With the world's population reduced, there aren't that many more tourists. Business is no longer booming, and they would see a gradual decline. The city's image would plummet. However, the community within Beach City would be stronger than ever, as the survivors look to one another for strength and guidance, no one taking anyone else for granted. Onion, now orphaned with no family left, may get adopted by the Frightman family, as they lost Ronaldo. Or he would run off and live on his own, becoming elusive to the rest of the town. Sadie would find it difficult to write music after losing her own bandmate in Sour Cream, though music is her only escape. Thus, she would be driven crazy, and eventually making her music style darker than ever before to cope. Sadie Killer and the suspects would definitely disband, causing Sadie to go solo. The Crystal Gems would never recover from their losses, Steven taking everything the hardest, losing his optimism, and unable to rationalize what happened. Losing Greg would also cause Uncle Andy to relocate, staying with Steven as they become the only family they have left in the DeMayo bloodline. Bismuth would grow paranoid, pinning the disappearances on Homeworld. Slipping into old habits, not only would she create an insane amount of powerful weapons and upgrades for the remaining gems, but even whip up another breaking point, unbeknownst to Steven. Assuming all the off-colors were needed to help repair the ship, the loss of Rhodonite and Paparacha would not only discourage Lars, freaking everyone out as they just crumble into dust before their very eyes, but it would keep Lars and the rest of the team at a disadvantage, as they remain stranded in space. Eventually, Steven would come to check up on Lars, filling him in on what he knows about the strange occurrences, and inform Lars about the loss of his parents, which would absolutely crush Lars. Sadie's survival being the only thing keeping Lars going. Steven would recruit Bismuth and Pearl, hoping the off-colors restore the ship so they can head to Earth. As for Homeworld, distressed and needing to compensate at the loss of White Diamond, Yellow and Blue would still come to Earth for the cluster, although obviously later than they originally did and reunited. When they arrive in Beach City, Bismuth either would get really lucky in successfully using the breaking point on the diamonds, or, the more likely scenario, still become immobilized by Blue Diamond's power. I think the latter events of Reunited would play out moderately normal. The cluster wrestles Yellow Diamond's ship, Lapis would eventually come to the rescue, only to learn that Peridot was a part of the decimation, and Steven would be rendered unconscious after urging Yellow and Blue to communicate and understand that Pink Diamond wasn't shattered. Steven still ends up in the mindscape, using his powers to get through to Yellow and Blue. The only ultimate difference here at the end of the day is that different gems may get pooped in the battle due to the lack of Amethyst and Peridot. After Steven gets through to the diamonds, the beginning of Lex Rid of Homeworld will play out as normal, except when Blue and Yellow attempt to heal Centipedal, that's it. Without White Diamond, corruption can no longer be cured. It would finally become a hopeless situation, with seemingly no way to fix it. With this shift in the timeline, either Yellow and Blue would stay on Earth, trying to help Steven cure corruption until their ships are fixed under the guise of Steven being Pink Diamond, or Steven himself would return to Homeworld, with Yellow and Blue in Pink's ship, staying with them, as he now feels aimless in life. He lost his father, and he lost his best friend. The Crystal Gems were unable to protect the Earth. Steven would feel that assuming the identity of Pink Diamond would be the only thing left for him. After all, what more could he lose? So, Steven would live out his days on Homeworld, serving the gems that serve him. Homeworld entering a very different, very scary kind of Era 3. Always wondering, where did it go wrong? How did we lose? Alternatively, because there's fewer crystal gems and the outcome could have been significantly different, for example, Alexandrite wouldn't have been formed right away, which could have completely changed the battle from the start, Blue Diamond could have easily wiped the floor with the crystal gems. Steven never being rendered unconscious, and Blue Diamond getting back into her ship to assist Yellow Diamond against the cluster. With the diamonds being successful against the cluster in this outcome, they could fully awaken it beyond an arm, causing it to completely form and destroy the Earth, destroying the planet and all of its inhabitants. So everyone loses, except for the diamonds, I guess? Though they would never have a change of heart and learn from their actions. Yeah. Thanks, Thanos. Although, I suppose if Steven did did stay on Homeworld, considering we saw what one could assume to be forced cluster experiments in Yellow Diamond's burning room, every single one bubbled, perhaps while Steven's occupied running a court and giving in to this new lifestyle, Yellow would continue the cluster experiments. And right under Steven's nose, she would birth not one, not two, but maybe multiple cluster experiments. Why even stop at the cluster? I could see Yellow Diamond just creating more and more geoweapons, destroying more and more planets in the process, being driven mad by paranoia at the loss of White Diamond, afraid that Gem kind is left vulnerable, and creating her own solution. A dangerous solution, one that's comparable to the Empire having, let's see, maybe 10 times as many Death Stars as they built in the past. I'm just spitballing. You get the idea though. Depending on the world and the story, losing 50% of all living life could impact that world and its story in a very big way. For the Avengers, now they finally have something to avenge. For someone like Steven, he would lose everything. More planets being harmed in the process. So, yeah, Thanos, your way of thinking, completely twisted. But as always, what do you guys at home think? How would you react if one day, 50% of the entire world was just gone? Oh wow, besides Lion, I didn't even factor in pets. Or Steven's melon army. What would happen to the melon people? Alright, so while I'm distressed, feel free to leave down your thoughts in the comments below. Or tweet your thoughts at Roundtable Vids. And for more of my insane Avengers takes, you can find me at OshikVlogs. We're also on Instagram. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. OshikVlogs, out.